Water, Tennessee, for Renew Recovery Community, and I'm just thankful that you are here. For those of you who are watching online, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us some time tonight. We're going to do, starting a series, part one of a series. Last week, I guess I ought to welcome y'all, because we're here every Monday night, and we've just finished up having a great meal. I can't eat before I speak, so I got me a sack lunch to go home here in a minute. Looking forward with that. But last week we started speaking, and we talked a little bit about in recovery, in Renew Recovery, we do 8 principles and 12 steps, and that's what we go through to give you. Is that magic? No, not necessarily, but it gives you kind of some tools to work through in your journey of recovery. So 8 principles, 12 steps, but we backed up last week and went to step 0, a step before you even get started with your recovery. And that kind of talks about realizing that I want to change, realizing that we are worthy of change, we are worthy of recovery. And we said last week that the fact is this, that everybody's path of recovery is different. Even though it's similar, our paths are different because we come from different places, because God created us all uniquely. As we look around the room, everyone, I don't see any identical twins in here.
Nope, they're at their end.
And so we're all somewhat different. And so as a result, we're all going to find kind of a different path as we look at our recovery program. And we have to look to find the right one. There's a lot of recovery programs out there, guys, and there is not one. I would be remiss if I said we are the only one. I could say we're the best, but I'm not going to even say that. I'm saying that there's a lot of different recoveries, and you need to find the one or ones, plural, that work for you as we go along. We're going to continue to look at some things. We started with step 0, but we're going to continue to look at some things tonight that will help us and maybe learn some lessons as we go along that would help us to be successful in whatever we do in our recovery from our addictive behaviors. And we all have addictive behaviors. Some of us have 1 or 2. Some of us have multiple ones. Many of us trade one addiction for another, and we do that all the time. So we're going to look at some of the lessons for success in our recovery. You know, has anybody ever tried to label you? Put a label on you and say you're this, or sometimes we label ourselves. We identify as, whatever it is, an addict. I'm a this, I'm a that. And I don't particularly like labels. I just never have liked to use labels or like labels been bestowed on me with certain words. I just don't like them. And the first label that I want to talk about tonight that people label us with is dysfunctional. And a lot of people say, and some of us are self-identifying. For those of you right there are some over here that are self-identifying, and so I'm going to say with love, stop that. Stop that. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I particularly don't like the word or identifying someone, that term of dysfunctional, because people use it so much to explain so many different varied behaviors that we begin to think that it's a diagnosis. Oh, he's dysfunctional. She's dysfunctional. What does that mean exactly? The term really is way, way too general for us to be able to really use it. If we were to look at Webster's dictionary, which I go to a lot because I don't know what things mean a lot, so I'll turn to old Webster and see what he says. The definition of dysfunctional is this: not operating, and I want you to pay attention to this, not operating normally or properly. Some of you are going, yep, that's me. Most of you are going, yep, that's you, pointing at me. But not operating normally or properly, unable to deal adequately with no normal social relations. Duh. I'm saying this, that if that's the case, then we all are dysfunctional. Yeah, right? But if we look close enough, and think close enough about it, really, is anybody normal? I would say, and the second question is, what exactly is normal?
Sitting on your drive.
What exactly is normal? So, for the sake of argument tonight, what if we are dysfunctional? What if we are dysfunctional?
At what?
That in and of itself, if we're all dysfunctional, that in and of itself would make us all normal. Think on that for a minute. Getting a little heavy there. My thought is this, that instead of labeling ourselves or someone else as dysfunctional, maybe it makes more sense to admit that we've had a bad day. We've had a bad week. We've had a bad year. And we really want to work. And that bad year has impacted our life and our health. And we want to do everything in our power to improve on that. And so I think that's what we need to do as far as we start to learn lessons for success in how to change, to be healthier, to be happier, to be different than we've been. And I think that's extremely important. The next thing we want to look at is you don't have to put up with suffering. You do not have to put up with suffering. But don't you love it when somebody says, you don't have to put up with suffering, and then there's that pause. But you should feel a little bit uncomfortable. And some people are going, whoa, wait a minute. Why do I want life to be easy? I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Well, I'm going to tell you that it's probably really good if you are uncomfortable. Because if you're thinking about making a change in your life, if you're thinking about changing your behavior or how you approach your addictive behaviors, first of all, we need to understand we are worthy of recovery. We are worthy of happiness. We are worthy of change. And there's no reason that we have to accept life on life's terms when it brings pain. We don't have to do that. We can and we must heal from our minds, from our victim mentality. We've got to get past that. We've got to move past it. Now, before one of my brothers throws a shoe at me and says it's not that easy, I didn't say it was easy. I just said that sometimes we get fallen into that trap of being a victim. It's not necessary for us to suffer, but we should feel uncomfortable. Let me ask you this. When everything's going great, everything is perfect, which some of you are going, okay, when's that? What time does that start? Haven't had that yet, but think of the most easy time. You're out on a lake and it's just smooth sailing. That part of your life that's just been easy. Did you grow? Do we grow when we're comfortable, or do we grow more when we're a little bit uncomfortable? Absolutely, when we're uncomfortable. Some anxiety, you're going to go, whoa. Some anxiety is normal. And it's even healthy because discomfort is real. Discomfort is real, but it doesn't have to be fatal. It doesn't have to be terminal. Discomfort is there for a reason. Discomfort is there to grow us. When we start to stretch ourselves and to try to be better, we're going to be a little uncomfortable. But through that uncomfortableness, that's part of the journey. That's where we head toward becoming healthier, becoming happier, becoming more stable. Maybe that we shouldn't call ourselves dysfunctional. Some of us are unstable. Maybe that's where we ought to be. But that's giving ourselves a label. But in stretching ourselves, at times we're going to feel uncomfortable. When we feel uncomfortable, we're going to feel unsettled. How many of y'all have felt unsettled in your life? How many of y'all have felt that several times today? Yeah, amen. Yeah, I'm with you. So when those feelings come, and they will, not if uncomfortableness will come, but when they come, how do you handle it? What do you do? Now, we don't get into that because some of you are going, well, that's when I used. That's when I just added more to escape. No, we'll talk about that, but that's not really one. One of the things that we want to do is we want to, because what we're trying to do in our addictive behavior, no matter what it is, pick one, it doesn't matter. We're using that as an escape. We're using that to run away from something, to try to hide, to try to build a wall, to not have to deal with life. And so we're trying to escape. We're trying to escape. That means to run away from. So one of the things we can do is focus on the present moment. Because when we start focusing on the right now, that can begin to change our brain. That can begin to change the way we look at things, our outlook, and that kind of thing. There's a million different ways that you can bring it in. Some of these, and I've done this, I don't know, it's been a couple years ago. I used to do yoga, and some of you are going, oh man, here we go. He's going to go into Warrior One, and he's all that Eastern mess, and that's ungodly. Not if I'm thinking about God and I'm focusing. But one of the parts of yoga that I will tell you that will help you focus on the moment, on the present, I want you to do this with me. Whether you've got your eyes open or closed, we're going to do it both ways. First, I want you to do it with your eyes open. I want you to, this is a thing called, and just relax your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Put your feet out in front of you. Put them flat on the floor. Put your hands in your lap. Relax. And I want you to breathe in slowly. With your eyes open this time. Breathe in through your nose, counting 1. As you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release that breath through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one of you were doing it really well, because if you're doing it right, when you're breathing in, you're almost like a fire. It's like a dragon. It's almost like a snore. And it's called Ujjayi breathing. Now, you did that with your eyes open. Now, I'm helping you focus on the present. Honestly, what were you thinking right then when you're trying to think about, how many of you are really trying to think about your breath? How many of you had 7,000 things going on in your mind because your eyes were open and you were looking and you're thinking, okay, I hear him, I'm looking at him, I'm seeing her. And that's why, if you really want to focus on the present, on you, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Let's try that. Close your eyes, relax your shoulders, breathing in through your nose, counting 1. Deep breath, taking it in through your mouth, straight down to your stomach, all the way, 4 and 5, and release it back out through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, can you tell a difference? Did you center yourself more and you're thinking more about your breath? And that, people are going, well, that's crazy. All I'm trying to do is get your mind away from the mind chatter, all the garbage. Because here's the deal. Garbage in, garbage out. And so we want to release the garbage. And so there's millions and millions and millions of stimuli going on all around us all the time. It's really hard to quiet our brain because there's too much going on. And so sometimes, well, how do we do that? Well, get off by yourself. Put on some soft music. Walk down by the lake. It's hard to do that in the midst of a million people. Okay, I'm going to walk down through town and I'm going to calmly. It doesn't work. You have to do some things. So that's one of the things you can do with just your breathing, with an exercise like that, something like that. There's many other things you can do from the standpoint of just relaxing like you are, continue to breathe, and just tense every muscle that you've got and hold it for 5 seconds or 10, and then release it. It centers you into that. There's another activity that's called the 5-4-3 exercise, where you look around and you notice something or 5 things. Notice them. You just notice them. Don't do anything about it. You just notice them. It's taking your mind off the other stuff and you're focusing on things. You may listen and hear 4 things. You really listen, narrow your focus. Because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise on here. Now, I'm the ADD poster child. I'm hearing people back in the kitchen, and I'm having to really work to stay focused right here. See? So what we're trying to do is train our mind, change our mind to where we can really, really focus, narrow our focus. You can do that on maybe 4 things that you hear. And lastly, you could focus on 3 feelings. My old knee, I feel that, and I take my attention to that. Or I have some sadness, and I bring that thoughts to my heart. So those are just some things you can do. I want you to understand that we're not powerless over our addiction. We're absolutely not powerless. There's a guy by the name of Russ Harris. He's a lot smarter than me. He's got a PhD, and he works. He did this work in a work that he calls Resilience Formula, the Resilience Formula. And he says this about us being powerless over our addiction. He gives us 4 things that we could do in every circumstance. There are 4. Do you realize that there's 4 things that we can do? First thing we can do is we can leave. We can just up and go. Now, before some of you go, yeah, I've done that. Is leaving a bad thing? Not always. Sometimes it may be the best thing you can do. That may be the best decision you can do is to leave. We may need to leave a relationship. We may need to leave a job. We may need, and it hurts our heart, but we may need to leave a friendship because we are trying to change and they are not. We're trying to be different. We're trying to be in recovery and they're still full blown in it. It's really hard to love somebody and be there seeing where you used to be and staying right there with it. So sometimes it's best to leave. We need to understand this about leaving. Leaving is sometimes the beginning of something absolutely new. It's not the end, but the beginning. When we leave, it breaks us apart, especially on a relationship. We go, my life will never be the same. Well, good. Good many times. It's time for a change, and it could be absolutely the best thing that could ever happen to you. Oftentimes leaving may help. It may help to leave, but you need to understand this about that. Just because you leave doesn't necessarily fix the problem. We still have to work at it. We still have work to do. The other thing, instead of leaving, we could stay and give in. We could give into it. And that's where a lot of us are. That's where we end up. We give in and we become even more unhealthy. We don't do anything to improve ourselves. We just stay in it. We get in that quagmire. We get in that rut. We stay there. Some people decide that's the best choice I can do. Just stay and give in and accept it. Just stay with it. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people end up. That's where they decide. They just think, what's the use? I'll never change. I'm not worthy of change. Any of y'all ever had that thought go in your mind? I'm not worthy of change. I'm going to always be like this. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. There's no use for me to change because I'm going to always be this way. So I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing. The problem is when we develop that mindset or we get in that mindset, then here's what happens in our brain. Because it's never our fault in our own mind. So we start playing the blame game. I'm this way because of them. They caused me to be this way. And that's the blame game, and that's no good at all. Trust me, if we stay and give in, that is absolutely not a good choice. Trust me. It's not a good choice. The next thing we could do is we could stay and we could accept. We can accept. It's a little different than giving in. Acceptance is powerful. Here we start to realize that there are some things that we cannot change. Stay with me now before you go, wait. I thought everybody could change. There's some things you cannot change. I'm talking about things like a disability. You may not be able to change that. I'm talking about a certain kind of illness. You may not be able to change that. I'm talking about your age. Boy, I wish I could change that. You know, I see that old guy on TV that's taking all the pills and doing all that stuff, and he's going backwards at his age. Sign me up. I want some of that. To know what I know now and be 20 years younger, I'm good with that. I'll do it. How many of you would do things a little bit different? Yeah, I think I would. I think I would if I knew then what I know now. Could be physical limitations. These are things that we must accept that are probably not going to change. Those are diagnoses, a disability, an illness. Those are disabilities that you're not going to be able to change possibly. But guess what? That doesn't define us. Our disability, our illness doesn't have to define us. I'm an invalid. Okay. Then why do I turn on TV and I see people in the Paralympics and they're doing things that I can't do with all my limbs? Do you think it's about their physical ability? No, it's about a mindset. So we have to have our minds right. We need to focus. Even if we have a disability, and we have to accept that we all have certain strengths. We have certain interests. We pursue different things differently. And that's where we need to invest our energy as we go forward. It's really important. Next one is we can stay and change what we can while trying to live by a different set of values as we go along. When I read that, what y'all think of the Serenity Prayer? I mean, that's what came to my mind. Change the things I can, accept those things that I can't change. Understand that most times, did your recovery come fast? Not many of us, it's instantaneous. That can happen. But for most of us, change is slow. I'm kind of glad for that because I appreciate it more. I've had to work hard at it. I'm still working hard at it every day. I still fail every day, but I pick myself up and go, okay, what did I learn from that? And I get my book out that I've got a whole book full of what I learned. And I pick myself up, shake myself off, and I say, okay, let's go again. Change is slow, and we've got to take small steps to improve ourselves. I mean, that's important that we do that. But we can change. Change begins here. It begins with intentionally identifying, thinking about, and feeling very deeply about our values, thinking about those things that we want to change, and then taking small steps toward doing that. Now, those are just four things, lessons. And I'm going to do you a favor tonight. I think that's where I'm going to stop tonight. Because I'm going to pick up more next week. And I'm talking, but because we are what kind of program? A faith-based program, I would be really remiss if I didn't share a passage or two with you for you to ponder on. And so tonight, we've been talking about things that can help us be successful in our recovery. Just a few. We'll do some more this next week. Some of them going, boy, we've got record time here. This is good. We could spend days and days talking about this topic of lessons for being successful in recovery. But from the Lord's standpoint, success means walking His way, not our way. See, that's what we've been doing all along, is walking our way. Doing it our way. Being in control. We're out of control, guys. Get out of the driver's seat and slide over and go, take the wheel. Let somebody else drive. Maybe it's time we do that. So I love Proverbs. Proverbs to me is just a life lesson. As I read that, I go, wow, why'd they just write that for me? You know, I love Proverbs. And Proverbs 16:3 tells us this. It says, commit to the Lord whatever you do. That means everything. Whatever you do. Whatever. Everything that we do, commit it to the Lord. And He will establish your plans. See, that's where we are. I don't even know what to do next. Where do I go? Where do I turn? Commit it to the Lord. And be intentional about what you want to do and what you want to change. And don't think, okay, I got to do 1, 2, 3, ABC, and I got this. Maybe we should commit it to Him and go, okay, you know me better than I know myself. And you know I've been trying to do it myself. And you know I've been screwing it up. So can you show me what to do? Will you just show me what to do? And then we have a decision we have to make, guys. We have to be obedient and submissive when He shows us. And do it. Well, what does that mean exactly? To commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. How do we do that? How do we do that? So we turn over to Deuteronomy 10:12, and it spells it out for us. And he says this, what does the Lord your God require from you? But to fear the Lord your God. That don't mean tremble, it means respect. Put Him where He's due, that respect. To walk in all His ways and to love Him. And to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Don't you wish sometimes they didn't put that little, what is that, 3-letter word, all, in there? Can I just do a little bit? No, it says with all your heart and all your soul, in everything you do, put Him first. Recovery is not easy. I'm not sure that this is extremely easy too. It's easy to say. Golly, it just rolls off your lips, doesn't it? What does the Lord your God require from you? But to fear the Lord, to walk in all His ways, and to love Him. That right there. I'm done right there. In all His ways and to love Him. When I do the things I do, am I doing something against Him? When I turn away from Him and I do it my way? Am I loving Him the way He wants to be loved? No, I'm not. So it's hard to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Here's the beautiful thing about my God, my higher power. He knows. He knows I'm going to turn away occasionally. He knows I'm going to be tempted. But He gives me a way out. And for me, you know how my way out of temptation is? When I'm turning to go toward that temptation, my way out is to just turn right back toward Him. Amen. That's my way out. That's the way I do it. This tells me that everything I do in recovery, everything I do in my life, everything I do in my everyday walk should be very intentional. We need to take that to heart this week. We need to ponder on that a little bit. What does that mean to be intentional in our walk and in His ways? I know for me that means I should respect Him more. I should love Him more. And if I respect Him more and I love Him more, It's going to cause me to have action. And that action is meaning that I'm going to serve Him. And by serving Him, guess who I'm going to serve? Others. I'm going to serve others in a lot of ways. And it may be as simple as we talk about here, is sharing with somebody, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm going like, you know, can I have a break? I know you're putting somebody in my path every day. But He's going to put people in our path. And it may be as simple as serving them by sharing your story. Because they may be in a bad place right now. They may be walking where you have already walked. And you need to share that with them. It means that I should put Him at the center of every part of my recovery. Not just my life, but we're talking about recovery here because that's where we're at. Put Him in the center of every part of your recovery. Put Him in the center of every relationship in your life. See, we try to do our relationships ourselves because we think we're Dr. Phil, I guess, and we can figure it out, or we can tell them how to do it because we know how. We're pros at it. But maybe we ought to put God at the center of all of our relationships. I know what I'm saying to you is a very tall order. That's why I said it's slow. It's a slow walk. But even though it's hard, we've got to take that first step. And we've got to strive toward that. So I'll leave you with this question. Will you do that with me? Will you begin to think about being intentional in your recovery and put God first in everything you do, every part of it? Will you do that with me? That's about all I got to say. Mark, you can come sing a song.
You gotta put that thing down.
This?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. I got this. Hey, while he's getting his guitar, this is Mark McHenry, and he is one of our brothers here, and he is a singer-songwriter. He's been down that road, and he's walking, and he's got thought that, because we all have some issues, and I'm not going to get the issues, but I'm saying we're all working through things, and I watched him be intentional for the past 2 years in his recovery. And so he's going to share a song with us tonight. Good.
Right there. Wow, I wrote this down. I think it was last year. Out here, I think it was last year, or this year, one of these years. I use it. I usually bring out my strap, but I took it out, and then smart guy I mean did not put it back in. It's probably the second time I've done that in forever. So, grace. We'll try this. We need grace in our recovery. Big time. I'm learning that grace, God's riches at Christ's expense. So learning that as I go, and I got about 3% of understanding of grace out of 100% right now. So that's where I'm at. Anyways, I wasn't going to sing tonight. I had a different song too. And then I was like, you know what? This is about the Lord, ain't about me. I woke up this morning to the bright sunlight and your spirit flowing through my storm. You give me a word that your mercies are new. Every time you open my eyes, then you walk me through. I know you're in my story. You put a change in me. You called, set me free, and spread your light of truth. You give me a purpose, showed I was worthy. You give me your spirit, now I know what's you shed. Those times that I struggle bring me back home to the open arms of love. And I'll never be alone. I know you're in my story. You put your change in me. You call to set me free. Spread your light of truth. You give me a purpose. You showed I was worth it. Now I know what it's like living. Since I found your grace, I know you're in my story. You put your change in me. You call to set me free. Spread your light of truth. You give me a purpose. You showed I was worth it. You give me your spirit. Now I know what it's like living. Since I found your grace, I know you're in my story. You put your change in me. You call to set me free. Spread your light of truth. Give me a purpose. You showed I was worth it. You give me your spirit. Now I know what it's like living. Since I found your grace, now I know what it's like living. Since I found your grace. All right, y'all. You're gonna do that part. All right.
Thank you, Mark. I thank you for always being there, because he will come at the last minute when I called him today and said, hey, we don't have anybody to sing tonight. I'm not going to ask you because you've not been feeling well. And he said, I got a song. I went, okay, good. I want to thank you all for coming. Those of you who are here, you've been here more than one time in your family now, so you got to fit in. For those of you who are out there, you gifted us your time. And I hope you heard something that speaks to you or speaks to somebody you love. So I want to thank you for coming just the way you are. There's no certain way you got to be able to get started. Just come as you are. And I hope you'll come back, and I hope you'll bring somebody with you. And so some of you are going, well, I live in Texas. I live in Florida. It's a long drive. Come back, see us online. But you know there are others, and you know them. As I'm saying this now, your mind is going, I know somebody needs to hear this. And so I hope that you will let them know by liking and sharing our page, Renew Recovery Community, and share that with somebody so that they can go in there and look at the videos. We've got 4 years worth of videos. Just hit on the more button. It's a drop down. It says videos, and there's a video for about any topic that has to do with recovery. So we would ask you to look at those and watch them and maybe look at them again and again. I know I have to, and I learn something all the time from that. So until next week, you know, I could say go Vols, but I won't.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. You need to know that we love you. But God loves you so much more than we could ever love you. So until next week, good night.